everyone, it's Mrs. Connolly, and I'm here today to read you a really special read aloud called Roxaboxen. This is one of my favorite stories. Now, I know that I say every book I present to you is one of my favorites, but they truly are because they touch my heart in a way. But the reason this story came to mind was because we started our unit in social studies, learning about our family stories. Well, the author, Alice McLaurin, wrote this book based on her mother's memories of her youth. This is her mom's story of her childhood. So let's take a look inside. Roxaboxen. And here's some images. Roxaboxen, written by Alice McLaurin and illustrated by Barbara Cooney. I'll give you a close look at the pictures. Marion called it Roxaboxen. She always knew the name of everything. There across the road, it looked like any other rocky hill. Nothing but sand and rocks, some old wooden boxes, cactus and greasewood and thorny attillo, but it was a special place. The street between Roxaboxen and the houses curved like a river, so Marion named it River Road. After that, you had to ford a river to reach Roxaboxen. So the kids, the children, used their imagination to create a special place for themselves. Of course, all of Marion's sisters came. Anna May and Francine and little Jean. Charles from next door, even though he was 12. Oh, and Eleanor naturally, and Jamie with his brother Paul. Later on there were others, but these were the first. Well, not really the first. Roxaboxen had always been there and must have belonged to others long before. When Marion dug up a tin box filled with round black pebbles, everyone knew what it was. It was buried treasure. Those pebbles were the money of Roxaboxen. You could still find others like them if you looked hard enough. So some days became treasure hunting days, with everybody trying to find that special kind. And then on other days, you might just find one without even looking. A town of Roxaboxen began to grow, traced in lines of stone. Main Street first, edged with the whitest ones, and then the houses. Charles made his of the biggest stones. After all, he was the oldest. At first, the houses were very plain, but soon they all began to add more rooms. The old wooden boxes could be shelves or tables or anything you wanted. You could find pieces of pottery for dishes. Round pieces were the best. I want to look carefully at that picture. They lined the streets of Roxaboxen with the stones, and then each person started to make their own little house. Pretty amazing, right? How the kids were using their imagination. I know you're all very good at that. Later on, there was a town hall. Marion was the mayor, of course. That was just the way she was. Nobody minded. I'll show you an up-close picture. After a while, they added other streets. Frances moved to one of them and built herself a new house outlined in desert glass. Bits of amber, amethyst, and sea green. A house of jewels. And the sign says welcome. And then her name, Frances. And because everybody had plenty of money, there were plenty of shops. Jean helped Anna May in the bakery. Pies and cakes and bread baked warm in the sun. There were 2 ice cream parlors. Was Paul's ice cream the best or Eleanor's? Everybody kept trying them both. In Roxaboxen, you can eat all the ice cream you want. Everybody had cars. All you needed was something round for a steering wheel. Of course, if you broke the speed limit, you had to go to jail. The jail had cactus on the floor to make it uncomfortable, and Jamie was the policeman. Anna May, quiet little Anna May, was always speeding. You'd think she liked to go to jail. So here is the picture of Miss Anna May right there in the jail that they made. But if you had a horse, you could go as fast as the wind. There were no speed limits for horses, and you didn't have to stay on the road. All you needed for a horse was a stick and some kind of bridle, and you could gallop everywhere. Sometimes there were wars. Once there was a great war, boys against girls. Charles and Marion were the generals. The girls had Fort Irene, and they were all Girl Scouts. The boys made a fort of their own at the other end of Roxaboxen's, and they were all bandits. Oh, the raids were fierce, loud, with whooping and stamping, and the stamping of horses. The whirling swords of Octillo had sharp thorns, but when you reached your fort, you were safe. Here's the picture of their great war. Roxaboxen had a cemetery in case anyone died. But the only grave in it was for a dead lizard. Every year when the cactus bloomed, they decorated the grave with flowers. And it says, lizard. Sometimes in the winter, when everybody was at school and the weather was bad, no one went to Roxaboxen at all. Not for weeks and weeks, but it didn't matter. Roxaboxen was always waiting. Roxaboxen was always there. And spring came, the Octillo bloomed, and everyone sucked the honey from its flowers. And everyone built new rooms. And everybody decided to have jeweled windows. That summer, there were 3 new houses on the east slope and 2 new shops on Main Street. And so it went. The seasons changed, And the years went by, and Roxaboxen was always there. The years went by and the seasons changed, until at last the friends had all grown tall, and one by one they moved away to other houses, to other hounds. So you think that was the end of Roxaboxen? But oh no. Because none of them ever forgot Roxaboxen. Not one of them ever forgot. Years later, Marion's children listened to stories of that place and fell asleep dreaming dreams of Roxaboxen. Gray-haired Charlie picked up black pebbles on the beach and stood holding it, remembering Roxaboxen. More than 50 years later, Frances went back and Roxaboxen was still there. She could see the white stones bordering Main Street, and there where she had built her house, the desert glass still glowing, amethyst, amber, and sea green. And that's the end of the story. But I'm going to read you the author's note at the end. On the hill of the southeast corner of 2nd Avenue and 8th Street in Yuma, Arizona, there was a place once known as Roxaboxen. The events in this book really happened to Alice McLaurin's mother. With the aid of her mother's childhood manuscripts, the memories of relatives, and letters and maps from the former inhabitants of Roxaboxen, Alex McLaurin was able to recreate that magical world as if she had played there herself. She presents us with a celebration of the active imagination, of the ability of children to create with even the most unpromising materials. I want to tell you that when I look at this book and read this book, I was thinking about the day when we had outdoor recess together, just our class, and everyone played together so well, and you had a class game of tag. It was just so much fun and so joyful. And I hope that's a memory you keep forever and share someday with your children. I hope you enjoyed this book, Roxaboxen, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.